then you are a fan.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Hi. Am I on? Am I on? Hell! No, okay. Hi. This is Garrett Morris, and I'm from, the movie I got out of Jackpot. I can say I'm from that. Of course, my last show was Jamie Foxx. I can say I'm from that. Of course, I'm really from New Orleans, Louisiana, so I can say I'm from that. Anyway, Talking Sports with Randy Harris.
Welcome back to Knockout Radio. Mike Straka, Street Net Matt, Joe Marquis, Mike MadLabMMA. First of all, Mike, I just want to know, does Jake have a shot at all against Mike Tyson? Forget about Mike's age.
Yeah, I mean, I think he beats him. I mean, I really do. I
Right.
think he beats him. You know, it's sad to say, and Mike, you know this, and you'll probably hang up on me for saying this, but I thought Mike Tyson was severely overrated. Number one, I thought he was a product of a very watered down, heavyweight division back then. There was a lot of guys that he avoided. I think he was good. I think he was great for the time, but I think all in all, he was very overrated. And I think that as time goes on, the SSRIs that the doctors put him on, all the stuff he's been through, he's a broken down 58-year-old guy. Like, I'm talking, his body's more towards 70.
Yeah.
This guy comes in maybe 2 minutes of fury. If you don't get Jake Paul out of there in 2 minutes, he's going to get chewed up and embarrassed, and then there goes his legacy. Because then the Gen Z, the younger generation, they're not going to remember him for what he was. They're going to remember him for the YouTuber that beat him.
That's true.
That's true.
And then Joe, why should Mike even take the fight? I guess just money.
He's definitely taking it for money. Why else would he be taking this? And he's right. Mike, one hit. I'm not saying that Mike doesn't look good on the mitts right now, but one hit, and his reflexes are not what they used to be. If one hit is going to take him off his game completely, and he will. I think it probably goes maybe 2 rounds. He gets him out of there in 2 rounds. We're talking about Mike Tyson too. And I mean, somebody that Jake wouldn't even be allowed to be even talked about in the same breath as Mike Tyson back in the 80s and 90s. But now, you can go as far as looking at Vitor Belfort, Vander Holyfield fight. That was the saddest thing I've ever seen. You're talking about an American hero getting dismantled by somebody who doesn't even belong in the ring with them if they were in their prime. And I think that's what we're going to see here. Actually, I can damn near almost guarantee it.
Yeah.
But you always say it. I mean, you saw with Matt Hughes and Royce Gracie. I mean, nobody needed to see that fight.
Right, that was rough.
No, nobody needed to watch Royce Gracie take that guy to beating. That guy's a legend.
But that would have happened even at UFC 1 if Matt Hughes knew what he knew. Okay? It's not like that still wouldn't have happened. If Matt Hughes knew what he knew in UFC 1, and he would have beat Royce Gracie in UFC 1. It's not like Royce Gracie was completely out of his
Ken
prime.
Shamrock. I mean, he didn't know leverage. He didn't understand the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Now the puzzle pieces have been cracked. So,
Right.
But going back to the Jake Paul, Mike Perry fight, Mad Lab. So after the press conference, the tweet came out from Conor McGregor. Our producer here, Steve, has forged Irish Stout, which is an owner of the BKFC now, which Mike Perry is the king of violence of. And from a tweet, Conor said, "You're released. You're no longer a part of BKFC. You're fired." Not only because he lost and made him look bad, probably, but he's claiming that he starts a new promotion called Dirty Boxing Club or Championship Series. Your thoughts on that? Is there any legality to it? Can he actually fire him? Is Conor McGregor allowed to fire anyone?
I mean, I don't know what his contract structure like. You know what I mean? I don't know what the partnership that he has, but I highly, highly doubt it. You're looking at a guy. I went to the one in Los Angeles. I had press passes. They gave me press passes to go see Mike Perry fight when they came to LA, and this guy puts asses in seats. So I highly, highly doubt for him doing a crossover. As far as the dirty boxing thing, I don't think he would ever publicly come out, sign contracts and stuff if Feldman didn't give him the go-ahead to do something. That would just be ridiculous. I mean, you got a perfect thing going with BKFC. You're considered the king of violence. You're one of the hottest guys there. If you knew you couldn't do it, why would you even think about tampering with another organization or even building another organization? So that, I don't think there's any. I think it's just Conor probably in one of his drunk moments, to be honest with you. Just tweeting for traction, because I don't think this guy's ever stepping in the cage again. That's my honest opinion. And I think he's continuously hanging on to this narcissism. I'm coming back. He needs to stay relevant. So you'll see in my opinion, you'll see Mike Perry back in BKFC.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
100%.
Well, Mike claims he owns 5% of BKFC. I don't know how it's all structured. I mean, I know Triller bought in. They supposedly own like 76% of it at one point. So I don't know what percentage of 5% of it, if it's just what BKFC still remains ownership of, or if it's the whole thing. I can't imagine it being the whole promotion, though.
I don't think it at 100% he's ever owned 5%. The 5% is 5%.
Yeah.
The 5% is a lot. Dana White only owns 10% of the UFC right now, and that's Dana White. You're telling me Barry's got 5% of the BKFC? I don't see it.
Yeah, if anything, that's what McGregor probably has.
But he bought into it.
Yeah.
We know Perry didn't buy into nothing. He doesn't have that type of money.
Well, and one thing about, I'll agree with you, Mike, that MadLab, that you'll see Perry back at BKFC. Feldman is much like Jake Paul, as in another great promoter. And his brother Damon, as you know, he did celebrity boxing for years. You know, he had a Danny Bonaducci fight with, I forgot who he fought, but, you know, that was his brother. So, you know, these guys know how to promote. And I know that Conor was with Feldman in Spain promoting that press conference, and we had David Feldman on the show last week. So I'm sure, like you said, Feldman let him do it. He let him make that tweet. I'm sure Conor didn't just go half-cocked and do it and did it on his own because, you know, there's a lot.
We're talking
there's a
about
lot
the
at
same
stake.
guy?
Yeah, I mean, well, I know that Feldman was with him. That's all I'm saying. David would probably be like, wait a minute, Conor, don't do that. But, you know,
Yeah.
I just think you said, you know, no publicity is bad publicity. We all know that, especially in the fight world.
He says off the wall stuff. He'll definitely be back in the BKFC. Maybe he's trying to set up a bare knuckle fight with him
Perry.
himself.
Yeah.
I mean, there's something behind his madness, 100%.
You know, I was watching videos this morning about Conor McGregor, and there were things that I didn't see, like behind the scenes footage of when he was making the Roadhouse film, and he's out of his mind.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, he's not.
you know, I've known Conor since he got into the UFC, and like he was nutty back then, but now with all that money and all the, I don't want to say, you know, extracurricular activity that he's doing, he's really off the beaten path now.
Yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal had a couple things to say about him. Actually, he said he was a delight to work with, though. Besides, I guess he accidentally hit him one time in the making of the movie. But that's another thing. Listen, Conor can do a lot of things because I thought he was brilliant
So did I.
in Roadhouse.
Me too.
I mean, just you can tell how somebody can act by what they're doing when the other person is acting. You know what I mean? The way he's holding his face, the way his mannerisms are. He was just like, it's like he was made for the role. Don't get me wrong, he damn near acted like himself.
I was going to say
right?
that. He basically played himself.
Right. I mean, he did it for a first movie, main role. I think he did an amazing job.
You know, I think that movie has been unfairly criticized. People absolutely hate that movie, and I watched it twice.
I've watched it like 6-7 times.
Yeah.
The only reason, because you're comparing it to a masterpiece, okay, the original.
Yeah, for sure.
The original was an absolute masterpiece, and when you're holding it to that level, it's really hard to. If this came out by itself, it would be an 80 on Rotten Tomatoes. You know what I mean?
Well, the
It
problem
would be
with it
great.
is that they, you know, after the fight in the parking lot, he drove the people he beat up to the hospital to get a medical
Yeah.
attention. You know, it's too politically correct. It's too, you
Well,
know,
I think he was just trying to show how nice of a guy
Yeah,
he wanted
but-
to be, is what it
it's
showed.
too modern with the whole PC thing.
And the
I mean,
woke, yeah, the woke.
Yeah, the woke
It's the
movement.
woke
And
Roadhouse.
There were no
Okay.
hot girls in the bartending. There was, I mean, it was just like a lady wearing a kitten T-shirt.
You know, I
Like,
think
come on.
there's not movies out like that right now. I definitely think they tried to keep it PG-13, but the fight scenes were amazing, especially when he went outside the bar. He's like, something's wrong with you. He says, I know because something's wrong with me too. That was dark as hell. I mean, it was, and the fight scenes were dark.
Well, yeah.
Don't get me wrong, like some of the fight scenes were kind of comedic. On the boat and stuff like that.
Yep.
Yeah, listen, it was a good movie.
Now, speaking of acting, MadLab, when a fighter gets popped for drugs or steroids or performance-enhancing drugs, a lot of times they go on TV and they pretend like they didn't know or they didn't do anything wrong and they were unaware. If you were at that fight, I believe that's when Lorenzo Hunt was accused of cheating at his last fight. California suspended him for 18 months, and he was just cleared. His name was cleared that they were wrong, that the drug testing facility was wrong, and they vindicated him. But is the damage already done? Like, how does a fighter restore their good name when they've been criticized publicly for being a cheater, and now they have the wrong conviction?
I think for me, honestly, it goes by track record. Somebody like Jon Jones, you know what I mean? Like, if he gets popped for something, I'm not even thinking about it. I'm not even debating it. I'm like, this guy just can't stay out of his own way. He's guilty. You know, if you rewind backwards all the way to someone like Nick Diaz, his career was ruined. They took his prime years away from him for smoking marijuana. Like, if you really think about it, like, Nick Diaz's career was pretty much put in shambles, you know, because of that indictment.
All right.
But then there's things, you know, with picograms, and there's guys that get traced for supplements, and, you know, at that point in time, I think they have to go deeper into the investigation, and people need to hold accountability. What happens is, when they say it's a tainted supplement, there's no accountability.
Right. All right, Madlab, we got
Somebody's got to step up to the plate and say, it was my bad,
Right.
it was my fault, I gave him a supplement, that was this is it. But it's almost like the referees and the judges. When something happens in a fight, there's a bad stoppage, or there's a bad